Hello viewers, today we will talk about studying abroad. So before we start, I want to start with a clarification that I'm not a consultant and I have won some scholarships in the past, and I would like to share some of my experiences through this video so that you can also benefit from it. So basically what I'm going to do today is to walk you through some of the things that you should think about before actually planning to go and study abroad. So question number one, why do you want to go abroad? Of course you want to study, right? But there are different types of strategies to study abroad. First one is that you want to go study and come back to your home country. Number two is that you want to study and settle in the same country where you studied, or maybe go abroad somewhere else. Third one is that you take the route of studies and then try to settle there instead of studies. The third one I definitely do not recommend, because you do not only affect your prospects or your future, but you also affect others' prospects who come from the same background or same country as yours. So why is it important? Because for countries like Pakistan, for example, if you are going on a scholarship that is sponsored by the Higher Education Commission, you have to sign a bond, which means that you have to return to your home country, serve the country for say 5 years, and then you can go somewhere else, right? So if your objective is to definitely come back home and serve your country, or maybe spend your time with the family, then this is not a problem at all. Second one is that you don't want to come back, or you want to explore your opportunities abroad. For that, you might have to think about different scholarship opportunities that do not tie you back to your home country, right? And also it's important because if you want to spend like 2-3 years after the studies, it also helps you calculate how much will it cost and how much you can pay back. For example, if you take some loan from the bank or from your friends or family to study abroad, and you want to calculate how much can you work in that host country to earn some money and pay back that loan. So you can do that after, let's say, completing your 2 years masters, spend 2-3 years abroad and earn some money, pay back your loan, then you can do whatever you want. Second thing, before you actually start looking for the scholarship or admission opportunities, is what to expect. Okay, when I was applying for masters scholarships and everything, there was certain expectation, right? So there are some negatives and positives of studying abroad in a developed Western country, for example. I'll start with the negatives. Number one negative point, not negative, but number one that you should be aware of is cultural shock. Okay, the way you have been brought up in your home country is not going to be the same in this country where you're coming, right? Things will be different. The way you behave in public, the way you hang out with your friends, it will be very, very different, right? So things that are normal in your country might not be normal in the new environment. Things that are normal in the new environment might be a shock to you because of your culture. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. Number two, you have to be aware that you have to follow the rules. Law and order is a must, right? So you can actually attach with the cultural shock as well, if that is possible. But what is most important is that you have to be wary of the law and order in any country that you're going to. And you have to be very, very careful about those laws, because that can actually affect a lot of things going forward during your studies or even afterwards if you plan to stay. Second most important thing, homesickness. You will not be with your friends. You will not be with your family. You will miss your family. I'm personally an introvert person, so I never spent a lot of time with my friends outside partying and chilling. So it was not a real problem for me. But people who really like to hang out with their friends, homesickness is really, really a big thing. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. I'm not saying that if you hang out with your friends and if you love your family so much, then you should not go abroad. I'm not saying that, but you should be mentally prepared for it. Third most important thing is that you have to do everything yourself. You have to cook yourself, you have to wash your clothes yourself, you have to buy your grocery yourself, and everything that you have to do, register yourself, call a doctor, go to the doctor, everything you have to do yourself. Cooking is not a big problem, but imagine going to, this is what happened to me, happened to everyone actually. You leave your house at 7 a.m. in the morning, take classes, come back at 9 p.m. in at night, then you have to start cooking. So imagine the kind of frustration that it brings. It's not like you come home and your mother or your sister or your wife has cooked a nice meal for you. You just have to relax, take shower and eat. It's not going to happen. So this is what you have to keep in mind. And the fourth one may be a minor point, but the hostel situation is not really ideal all the time. You have to sometimes share your apartment, your rooms with other people that may not really get along with you. You have to make certain compromises, but that is the beauty of going abroad and living with other people, which brings me to the positives of studying abroad. Number one, you learn a lot about other cultures. There are certain stereotypes that are in our heads about certain nationalities, about certain religions, about certain cultures. When you live with diverse set of people, you learn a lot about them. Many things you update in your head that were taught before you actually left your country, and it really helps you develop yourself, you know. Second, definitely you're going for academic education, so you will get that, so I should not even point that out. Third, you will make a lot of great friends, and those friendships last even longer than your childhood friends. That has been the case with me. I made fantastic friends. I made really great people when I lived in Europe, and I'm in touch with some of them, and they are one of the best friends that I ever had. So that is definitely a huge plus. Then also you get to learn new language, and I highly recommend that. Even if you're not required to learn the language, if you're going to Germany, language is going to be a barrier. France, maybe China, if even you don't have to be an expert in their languages, but at least try to learn some of that. That will be a really good plus in your CV. And of course, one of the positives of studying abroad is that you can also look for future prospects, look for something else that is available for you rather than living in your home country. You can actually compare the pros and cons and decide for yourself if you want to stay there for the longer period of time. Now, the most important bit, I think that's what you're waiting for, is where to go. You have to choose a country, you have to choose a university. So to choose a country, what you have to look for is cost of living, first of all, language barrier, this is the second one, and also the cultural shock as well. So China would be definitely a huge cultural shock for somebody who's going from Pakistan as compared to Germany. This is what I've found, right? So these factors can be very, very important. I'm going fast right now, but I will show you a very neat way to put everything together, and then you can actually decide for yourself which country you want to go to and which program you should choose, right? So I'm going a little bit fast, but it will all make sense in a minute. Then when you're talking about university, you have to think, actually it's connected with country as well. Which countries or universities have tuition-free education? In Germany, for example, education is free. There is some semester fee, but generally there is no tuition fee. So that is a big plus. Then you have to talk about which language you are going to speak there. In Germany, the tuition is in English, but if you want to survive afterwards, if you want to find a job or stuff, then you have to definitely learn German. It's not going to be easy, but it is definitely a plus if you do that. But basically, finding out that if you want to make that effort and learn the new language in order to survive in the new country, then definitely go for it, right? And other things might include if there are certain restrictions to visa from your country to the host country. How much does it cost in terms of air travel to go from your country to the other country? And cost of living, of course, it's very, very important. Some countries are cheaper, some countries are not that cheap. Even within the country, for example, if you go to England, London is very, very expensive. Some other cities might not be that expensive. So you have to actually carefully make that decision where you want to go, not only in terms of country, but also in terms of the city where you're going, right? Then when it comes to the university, you have to think about the ranking of the university. You have to think about the program that it is offering. You have to think about the fee in that university. You have to think about the TA-ship opportunities. You have to think about the location where it is, so that if you want to do some part-time job, can you do that, and stuff like that. So location of the university and so on, all this matters a lot. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a way to summarize everything that I've just talked about, which will help you a great deal to actually select the program and decide whether you want to go abroad or not, right? So not only for selecting the education program or a country to live in, I actually do this, apply this methodology for my significant purchases as well. So if I want to buy a laptop or a camera or mobile phone, stuff like that, I make a spreadsheet which helps me figure out the pros and cons of every product and how much money extra do I have to pay for some extra benefit. Then it helps me decide whether I want to go for that product or not. So this is how it looks like. I have 3 sheets. You can actually, with this one sheet, actually you can think about a lot of things. This one sheet can help you a lot, but the other 2 sheets are just optional. So you have university here, you have QS ranking here, you have program. So many of these things are hypothetical. I've just made an example just to show you that you can arrange data in this way. Duration of the degree, fee per semester, scholarship if it is available or not, whether there is an IELTS requirement, if yes, what is the band, GRE score requirement, deadline for application, and link. So all this information, if it is put together, then you can actually zoom out a little and compare whether you want to go to Oxford or TU Munich and so on, right? Country selection, this is what you can do with countries as well. So you have countries listed here. You have cost of living per month for each country. You can actually find out if after education you can get job search visa. So this is hypothetical. Could be true or could not be true. But these are the things that are important for me, that were and are important for me. So you can actually add some other factors as well here, but these are the factors that are important for me. After how many years can you get permanent residence in that country? This is mentioned here. What is the main spoken language there? English, Chinese, English, German. So you can fill up a lot of information here, and this will help you decide the country for yourself. Whether learning a new language is a significant barrier for you. If yes, then China and Germany are definitely out of here. Then you are left with 3 other countries. Then you can choose which country has better prospects after the education and many other things like that, right? And total cost is also very, very important. So for example, I made this sheet where I have cost of living here, tuition fee, visa fee, air ticket, documentation means, for example, in Pakistan, you have to attest all the documents, right? So you go for the attestation of Higher Education Commission, and you go for other types of attestations as well as per the requirements of the embassies and also the universities. And that costs a lot of money, right? So you have to account for that as well. Insurance while living in the countries abroad, how much will it cost for insurance? City registration, in Germany, for example, you have to go to different offices. Some charge money, for example, for this residence permit that you have to pay some money. Most of the times for students, it is free. It's not, they do not charge fee. But for example, if you are a guest researcher like me right now, you have to pay some money. So you have to actually figure that in. And you have to also think about whether you are allowed or you have the opportunity to get some scholarship or TA-ship. So you are earning money as well during your studies. So you have to subtract it from the total costs that you're going to bear while you are living in that country. This will help you decide which university you want to go to. Of course, I made this example like 4 different universities for 4 different countries. It's quite possible that you have already decided to go to England and you are comparing among universities in England, so that's not a problem. In that case, most likely your cost of living will be the same, tuition fee might be different and so on. Then you can compare which university is more expensive, how much can you afford, how much loan do you have to take, and all those kind of things, right? So this is the way that actually helped me a lot, not only in terms of finding the best program for studies abroad, but also to buy some like significant purchases to make, right? So you might want to know where to look for the scholarship opportunities. There are several places. Of course, Google is your best friend, but here I'm going to give you some of the examples that I looked for. For example, I found the PhD scholarship that I got on Google. I searched for the PhD scholarships in economics of innovation, and the first result that I got, I eventually ended up getting that scholarship. So always start with Google. There is no problem with that. Then you can ask your university representatives. There are many universities with specific staff members looking after the industrial liaison and also international collaborations. So you can always reach out to them and ask them if there are some scholarship opportunities available with them. Then there is a very handy group on Facebook, which is Scholarship Network, that might be more relevant for Pakistani students, but I think it's not limited to them. So go check that out. LinkedIn and Twitter. This is what I found much later, even after completing my PhD, that LinkedIn and Twitter are very important tools to search for scholarships, especially in PhD and postdoc, because there are faculty members, professors, and other researchers who are looking for partners and research associates, PhD students who post their ads on Twitter and LinkedIn. And you can actually reach out to them and ask for opportunities as well. So make sure to follow the university pages and also the most prominent researchers and professors in your field, so that if they post something, you are the first one to get the notifications. Then you have to, as I mentioned, that you can use the spreadsheet method to narrow down the universities that you are interested in, and then you can follow them and have a look at their websites if they have some scholarship opportunities there. Many universities have their own funds to support their scholarship opportunities, so they always post that either as a regular post at a separate page or as a news item. So you have to actually do some research and go into the websites and see if there is something that is of interest for you. Then there are two websites that have many interesting options: a scholarship portal and scholarshipdb.net. There is one that I have not mentioned here that is specific for economics, that is Enomics, Inomics. That is a very good website for conferences, PhD scholarships, and master scholarships as well. So you can also look into that if you are from the field of economics. Then we have country-specific scholarship options. I have mentioned only few of them. There are many of them out there. So feel free and have a look. First one, for example, is Fulbright in USA. In Germany, there is a famous one called DAD. Japan has MEX. Turkey has Burslari. Czech Republic, the one that I got, Czech government scholarship. There are two. One of them is for developing countries. Hungary also has a government scholarship program, and for England, for example, Commonwealth scholarship is also there. There are even in these countries, there are multiple options for scholarships. These are just to give you a flavor, just to give you an example, that there are large scale scholarship programs offered by these countries. So feel free, have a look, spend some time, make a spreadsheet of what kind of scholarships are available, what are their deadlines, how much money do they offer, what is the requirement, and all those kind of things. So once you put everything together, it will help you narrow down your search, and it will help you apply for the most relevant scholarship that is important for you. This is what I wanted to share. And the last thing that I want to share is that I've seen many students who not only approach me, but also write some posts in different groups. They ask about programs that do not require IELTS or GRE. I would really highly recommend that actually you go for GRE and IELTS, right? Of course, if you cannot afford, that is a different issue. But even in the universities that do not require IELTS or GRE, if you submit IELTS or GRE, it gives them an indication that you are actually a serious student and you are going to complete your program and you are going to do well. There are many students that I actually mentioned in the very beginning of this video. There are many students who actually seek student visa to go to the country, go to another country, and just do part-time jobs, and they are not really serious about their studies. They just want to stay there legally or illegally. They don't really care. And many universities and embassies try to avoid that. And one of the ways is to find out how much willing is this student, how much is the passion in this student, how much serious he is to study abroad. And seriousness is actually gauged by if you are willing to take IELTS exam, GRE exam, and all those kind of things that seem difficult, but actually it shows a lot about your commitment to actually go abroad and complete your studies. So I hope that this video was useful for you. Next, I'm going to explain the 3 scholarships that I have got separately in 3 different videos, how I got them and what did it take to get those scholarships, what were the problems, what were the challenges, and how I overcame them, so that my story helps you get your scholarships and get your foreign education dream come true as well, right? So thank you very much for watching this, and with the next video on this topic, I will come up with some of the tips for scholarship seeking as well. Thank you.